in 2018, we finally saw...
Hey Facebook, it's Misty. We are at Breaking Free Overdose Awareness Event, and it was supposed to be a candlelight vigil, but I think maybe because of COVID, not as many people showed up as they were expecting. So, but they all agreed to stay and speak to us. The only issue is I'm having internet issues, connectivity issues, even though I have a hotspot right here that one day, again, you can check out at the library. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this around and hopefully you'll stay connected. But right now we're listening to Michelle, and she is the executive director of Mutual Ground, and now also Breaking Free because they're merging their services together. And also, I think we're gonna post the video we're taking through Instagram because that's been going from the beginning, and you guys are just now joining us. So I'm gonna take you over to Michelle so you can listen to her.
We're tasked with coming up with creative ways now to handle this roadblock to recovery. So what can we do to prevent overdose deaths and reduce harm among those with opioid addiction? Well, we can implement prescription drug monitoring programs at the state level to reduce prescribing. We can increase distribution of Naloxone, which is an antidote to reverse opioid overdose. We can improve access to drug treatment programs such as ours and medicated assisted treatment. And we can encourage cross-agency collaboration across states to more effectively and efficiently use resources to prevent and mitigate harms affected or associated with substance use disorder. So similar to what Mutual Ground and Breaking Free are doing now. On a final note, I came across an article that was in the American Academy of Pediatrics that pointed to a strong association between adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, and illicit drug use in adulthood. Some strategies to prevent ACEs include parenting training programs, intimate partner prevention, teen pregnancy prevention and parent support groups, treatment for mental illness and substance abuse, and sufficient income support for lower income families. At Breaking Free, we provide prevention and intervention. We are here for individuals to begin and or reconvene their recovery process. No one should face this challenge alone, and we're here to help. We develop campaigns bringing awareness to substance use disorder in our area schools. We provide parenting programs, and we have counselors on staff for assessments and outpatient treatment. I would just like to thank everybody who came here today to raise awareness, support, and education on the issue of overdose awareness. And thank you for broadcasting this so that we can get it to a larger audience.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Oh, this is Betsy. Facebook is now live. So, was there another person you were going to introduce us to? Okay. Do you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself and then share whatever it is you wanted to share?
My name is Chuck Nelson. I've lived in the city since 1993. First 12 years I served as alderman on the Royal Sport Board, and from 2005 on I served in the mayor's office since then. 11 years as assistant chief of staff, and then the last 3+ years as the deputy mayor of the city. So, very, very happy to be here tonight. It's wonderful to see so many people in our community that all have the same passion to assist those who need assistance. Today we're here to recognize National Drug Overdose Day, and tomorrow kicks off National Recovery Month in the state of Illinois. And so, you know, it's interesting. Last year I attended this event, and I learned so much about what efforts are being undertaken here in the county and within the city of Aurora. And there are so many wonderful things, prevention programs that are taking place right now. But first and foremost, what I learned last year was that we need to have an open and candid conversation about these type of addictions. So last year I learned that Sheriff Payne was running some wonderful programs up in the county, inside the correctional center up there. I learned that he was networking with other police departments throughout the county too as well. So once an inmate got out of jail, they weren't just left alone, that there was some sort of follow-up efforts to make sure that he or she were getting the treatment and the resources that they need. So, and then lastly, I heard from a young man who has been able to deal with addictions his last year. He spoke candidly about how challenging it is. And that's a real testament, not only to his character, but to his family, and just a total embracing of coming to terms with addiction. So, I was hoping today that we'd have a better turnout, but nonetheless, it's a spirited group.
Yes,
and,
it is. You can hear them.
How the impact of the virus has had this year on some of our programs. And in some situations, as Sheriff indicated, it's been somewhat devastating in terms of the programs. But they've just been pushed off to the side. But once we start getting back to normalcy, he intends on bringing a lot of these programs back. And I know everyone else does too as well. In addition, Warren is the home to the second largest shelter, homeless shelter in the state of Illinois. That's Hesed House. And so Hesed House offers and works very closely with Regular Free, Shutdown, and other organizations here in the community in terms of those who need counseling, those who need additional resources that are provided there at the shelter. So, and they're just getting back on track too. They were impacted significantly by the virus. So things are starting to come back together slowly but surely. So anyway, I just want to recognize the efforts of Regular Free. They've been here for many years. They continue to do good work. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then I believe they're going to introduce us to this gentleman over here next, right?
Are the
Oh, speaking of the sheriff, here's the sheriff.
So I'll try and go with mask on as well. Do you feel like people can hear us actually?
no one is saying otherwise.
Yeah, no one is
Can't hear the
commenting.
bubbly guy with the mask on and the background. So yeah, at the King County Sheriff's Office, I've been sheriff for about a year and a half now. And it was always a priority of mine to make sure that we brought in medically assisted treatment and addiction counseling into the King County Jail. We had zero programming before I became sheriff, and now we had very robust programming in place from vocational to job placement to, again, the program I'm most proud of and the cell block I'm most proud of called Recovery Pod, where we do provide medically assisted treatment to the opioid dependent and addiction counseling to everybody who struggles with addiction issues. And we've been able to maintain that, whether we had to switch to a virtual platform at the early onset of COVID and back into that virtual format during the contained outbreak that we recently had at the jail. And what we're really struggling with and I'm most concerned about is the shutdown of our Way Out program. So our Way Out program would allow someone struggling with addiction issues to reach out to my office by text, by walking in, by phone call, and they'd be met by a deputy within a very short time. We shoot for about a half an hour, and then within 4 hours, our deputies would actually, in a good Samaritan role, find them a treatment bed at a treatment facility and drive them there and drop them off. Non-punitive, completely supportive. And now all our treatment centers are operating at 50% capacity at best. So they're waiting 2, 3, 4 days to even have a bed opening. And if we can't get somebody placed that's opioid dependent into residential treatment within 4 to 5 hours, and we let them walk out the front door and we can't support them, we find that they're in the wind. So a lot of outpatient counseling doesn't work for them because of the seriousness of the addiction. So I came out today to make sure I maintain that face contact that we've been deprived of over the last 6 months with a lot of the key players here, and have that open conversation about how we're going to redo this once life comes back to normal, treatment centers open back up, because the one headline that isn't making it out there enough is that addiction, if you thought it was bad pre-COVID, is going to be horrendous post-COVID. because people are bored, they're frustrated, they are turning to addiction, and we're seeing a rise in crime because of it. And we have very little resources right now to point them towards because everything is so shut down. So that is one of my biggest concerns post-COVID, and that's why I'm so happy to see they apologized when I first walked up that they had a small turnout out here. And I said, please don't apologize. Number one, I get to look people in the eye and talk to them. And number two, everybody here is a really important factor in the game. So it was great to connect and have some conversation. And
Thank
great
you.
job breaking ground for, or I'm sorry, breaking free. I always mix that up. You show ground.
Breaking ground, each ground,
So,
considering breaking ground.
you might just want to do that. Yeah, you might just want to do that with them. But they always do a fantastic job with every event that they hold. And thank you for having the courage to try and pull this together. I don't think it's very important. Yeah,
That it is.
keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Time, guys. Take care.
So before I just wanted to talk a little bit about
Oh, yeah.
Overdose and his drug deactivation kits available. So we know a lot of the drug take-back locations have closed due to COVID. So this is a safe system that you can use at home. Basically, it's 3 steps. You place your medication, used, unused, expired. It could be even patches, liquid. You place it in here, you fill it with water, shake it up for 30 seconds, and then it goes into your trash. It's safe for the environment, and it keeps drugs off the streets, out of your medicine cabinets. A lot of times overdose happens accidentally, even with children thinking medication is candy. So this is just another way for us to help the community stay safe. These can be picked up at Breaking Free, or we can arrange at different locations within communities. Breaking Free does have a good amount of these that we would like to get out into the community, especially for the times right now that we're kind of stuck at home. So I wanted to make sure to plug that. And then also we will be running 2 Narcan trainings. So Narcan is a overdose reversal drug for opiates. And we will be running 2 of those in September. You can visit our website at www.breakingfree.org. And the registration link is up. It will be virtual, so no attending with other people. So just sign up online so we can send you that link. That's the only reason why we require the sign up. But it is free, and then you can be trained in using Narcan, and you can help save somebody's life at some point. So I'm going to introduce Herb Strickland. I'll let him introduce himself.
I'm Herb Strickland. I'm the Director of Clinical Operations at Breaking Free. And I was asked to speak today on a couple of topics. One is the effect that COVID outbreak has had on people with substance abuse issues and overdose. And then also the things that happen after overdose. So initially, when you look at the challenges that all of us face when it comes to COVID, and in many ways it's kind of what we know about substance that it really flourishes in privacy and many of our treatment interventions are based on connecting either with treatment centers or with support groups with other people, which has been tremendously reduced.
Do you mind, I hate to interrupt you, if we walk over this way? Just because I do have a comment that it's difficult to hear you over the chattering. So I do want them to hear you. So we'll just walk away from it a little bit.
I will, if it's okay, I can take this off.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that might be a little bit better.
yeah.
So, as I was mentioning, COVID in many ways is kind of the perfect storm in that it promotes isolation and separateness for people, and that's one of the things that allows substance abuse to flourish, the secrecy behind it. And our main treatment interventions are working to connect people with others, and that's just something that's really difficult to do during this time. When you look at people who have a lot of issues around substances, they tend to be hypersensitive to stressors anyway. So we're all facing a lot more stress, so it does impact them a lot more. And because of that, it can increase their reliance on using substances. Other things that happen is it ends up impacting the routines that people get into. People who use substances often rely on routines. Well, nothing is really very routine anymore. And it even comes down to people's access to substances. We've all run into limitations here and there. Well, even though there unfortunately are plenty of drugs in the marketplace, the provision of those drugs by the suppliers has been somewhat interrupted, and that can impact people who are taking certain drugs. So if they go without for a while and then they go back to using, the dose they were using might actually impact them a lot greater than if they had been consistently using. Financially, things are also challenging for people, and their ability to secure drugs have been impacted. And also, as I mentioned previously, about the whole idea of isolation. I know that a lot of 12-step programming has gone virtual, so you can log in to meetings, but many people really rely on that kind of that human contact that they get. So those are a lot of the challenges people are facing, and that do impact the rate of overdose. Also, one last thing is that when people are using alone, there is no other person there to intervene if they do have an overdose event. You know, sometimes if someone's with them, they can provide them Narcan on the spot and actually bring them back. So those are many challenges that people face on top of just the real challenges of substance abuse.
Right.
Talk a little bit about overdose and what happens immediately after overdose, and I am speaking primarily about opioid overdose at this point. When people overdose on opioids, it produces an oversedation, and it suppresses the breathing center of the brain, and that's what ultimately leads people to expire. We do have a drug that can be administered that's been really tremendous in making headway with this. It's called Naloxone, or Narcan is another version of it that's sprayed through the nasal cavity. What it does is it immediately knocks the opioid off of the receptors and takes its place, which allows the person to come back from that overdose. Now when they come back into an experience of withdrawal, so it's very uncomfortable for them and a very unpleasant experience, and they often will talk about just wanting to get back away from that kind of experience. And that's really a critical time, because with Narcan, the half-life of it is actually pretty short, and people can be administered Narcan and it can save them for that moment, but if they go out and try and use again to get rid of those withdrawal symptoms, when the Narcan runs out in their system, then they're at risk for overdose again. So it's not uncommon for people to have 2 or 3 overdoses in an episode by doing that.
Wow.
But again, that medication, Narcan and Naloxone, has been revolutionary in improving the survival rate. Many studies indicate that it's reduced death rates of people from overdose by roughly 14 to possibly 21%. And there are more and more movements to get more Naloxone out to the public. Right now, first responders are getting it and using it quite frequently, but we are trying to get it into pharmacies. There's also something called Co-Prescribing, when someone is at high risk for opioid abuse and they're prescribed opioids. Co-prescribing means that the doctor will just give them a prescription for Narcan along with their opioid, so they have it in case they have any problems. Another thing that's been a benefit is the Good Samaritan laws, where people can reach out to first responders. They can call 911 if someone goes into crisis, and they don't have to worry themselves about repercussions. So it has allowed people to be more active in addressing these things. In the Kane County area, we have some tremendous resources. We heard earlier from Sheriff Payne, who is really taking a leadership role with that. Rob Russell, the coroner, has been very active, and the health department has also
And Breaking Free is actually going to give us 4 Narcan injections or sprays, right?
Yes, yeah, it's a nasal spray.
1 at each desk. Breaking Free is giving us. So that's super awesome. And free training. So thank you for sharing. And I think there's another person over here who wants to share. Yeah, let's go find Betsy. How we doing? Good?
Good, I think.
Yeah?
Oh, sorry. How you doing?
How you doing?
Is it hard? It's hard to hear you over. Oh, sorry.
That's why I moved that
That's
way.
why we moved.
Yeah.
So hopefully you can hear us a little better. Trying to shield the wind too.
Yeah, we were trying to shield the wind.
All right, where's
And the
shield
noise.
wind?
Right here.
Okay, can I take my mask off?
If you're comfortable with that, it's gonna be okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, that way you don't hear me muffling into it. So I'm Katie Anderson. I am the treatment advocate team lead for Recovery Centers of America. We're in St. Charles, and we are. I got the opportunity to come here tonight. I'm so excited because I think this is such a valuable thing to share. So I want to share a few things that I was going to share with everybody else. If you guys don't mind, on Facebook and Instagram.
No, go for it.
All right, so today, August 31st, is the day that we remember those persons who have lost their battle with addiction and succumbed to a fatal overdose. Today is also a day to raise awareness of the risk of overdose and to continue to confront the shame and stigma that fuels the disease of addiction. Addiction is an isolating disease, and we need to approach it with the support for those who are struggling. Despite many successful initiatives to combat the problem of opioid overdose, synthetic and high-potency opioids, they have been proven still to be dangerous. This COVID-19 pandemic has associated isolation, fear, and the uncertainty have fueled increased use and overdose rates in Illinois and across the country. Everyone who is using opioids, or those of us who know persons using opioids, should be trained in recognizing the signs of overdose and the use of Naloxone. To reverse an overdose, we should all carry Naloxone. Depending on what drug a person takes, the symptoms may vary. Some symptoms associated with various overdose states include severe chest pains, seizures, severe headaches, difficulty breathing, delirium, extreme agitation, or anxiety. For those who may be struggling with opioid overdose, may have a depressed level of consciousness, respiratory depression or arrest, cold or clammy skin, and blush skin, markedly constricted pupils. If you or a loved one has the potential for an overdose on drugs, seek immediate attention by calling 911 and receiving your help immediately. Recovery Centers of America is opening a new 120-bed inpatient program in St. Charles this month, bringing additional resources and treatment capacity to fight against overdose and addiction here in Northern Illinois. So thank you everybody for your time, and we greatly appreciate it.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing those symptoms and warning signs, and that you guys are opening 120 more beds.
I am.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's go find Betsy
Okay.
and find out what's going on. Okay, was that everybody that you wanted us to talk to, or is there another person?
Yeah, everybody else is kind of here at staff.
How are we doing on time?
7:02.
That was perfect. Yes. Thank you for letting us come.
You guys, yeah, and thank you for sharing the information, because at least we're getting it out. That's really the intent of the day, is to get the information out. And, so we have information on our website if anybody wants to learn more, or they can contact any of us on the website. My information is on the website as well.
Perfect.
Very good. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. It was so awesome that we came. High five. COVID high five.
Can't touch you.
I know, right? Okay. Thank you guys for watching.
you for
I hope this was
watching.
helpful information. We
hope
love
so
you.
too. Bye.
Bye.